I've been having a lot of different conversations in my coaching career with various different people who are in all kinds of different situations. Some have lost all of their income. Some were doing really, really great and, have lost the majority of their income from not being able to play live gigs. Some people who have entire businesses that are, based upon people actually attending things, people like agents and things like that. And other people who were struggling before the crisis, maybe didn't have many gigs, but now are struggling in different ways. To people who are relatively unaffected by it. I mean, on a personal level, my business has obviously been massively affected by it because I help musicians, and the music industry, particularly the live music industry, was almost like the canary in the coal mine for what happened. All of the big events were some of the first things to get cancelled. So I've been talking to a lot of different people who are in various different kind of stages of their shock, fear, anxiety, anger, frustration, denial, and some acceptance of the situation that we now find ourselves in. So kind of have had the opportunity to gain quite a few insights, or at least on a personal level, gain a few insights about kind of what's going on for people and what's going on for me as well, because we're all in this, right? And one of the things that I've noticed that I think might be helpful to you is that the people who have suffered the most kind of mentally are those who probably have built up in themselves, and also this kind of reflects itself in their creative processes as well, an illusion of control, an illusion of certainty. Because obviously, while this is a huge world-changing crisis, I mean, we are literally in history right now. People are going to look back on this time for hundreds of years to come. So yes, things are changing massively. In reality, the lack of control that we are now faced with, and the enormous amounts of uncertainty that we're all are all facing, they were always present. We haven't actually lost control. Hey, Matt, good to see you. So we haven't actually lost control, and we were always subject to thousands of factors outside our control. There isn't in reality any more uncertainty. We never, in fact, knew what was going to happen to us. I mean, the truth is, and this might sound somewhat morbid, but it's true, the truth is that I could literally drop dead in the next second. I have no idea whether that's going to happen. Obviously, I don't want to, but that is the reality. Now, is it better to put our heads in the sand and pretend that isn't the reality, or actually look at it in the face? Because what we're all experiencing right now, and it's not, what I'm saying now isn't to say that I haven't been shocked, that I haven't been surprised, that I haven't been through this. I mean, when I'm talking about this, I am actually talking about my own experience as well. So what we are experiencing right now is not a shift in reality. Yes, the world has changed massively, and I think it will change. This is a kind of turning point. So many things are not going to go back to normal, right? But we're not actually experiencing a shift in reality. What is happening, in a sense, is that we are seeing the reality that was always present way more clearly. Just, a clear example, okay? If you look at the Bill Gates TED Talk from like 2015, where he talks about the possibility or the certainty, in fact, of a pandemic, you will know that there was always going to be some form of global pandemic very soon. We were due for one, if you like. That was 100% certain. There was no uncertainty about that. This was going to happen. Okay. The only questions that were uncertain were, what is it going to be? What's the disease going to be? And when will it happen? Yeah. So in a sense, now we have the answers to both of those questions. We know what it is. I mean, there's a lot we don't know about it, but we know when it has happened because it is happening right now. So now we know those answers to those questions. In a sense, we have gained certainty. And in the face of the crisis, despite all of the misinformation out there, we are gaining information about what to do to protect ourselves and the ones we love. So in a sense, we also have greater control than we did before the crisis. So why am I talking to you about this? Because, I'm a creative process coach. I'm a music coach. I help people with their creative processes and their businesses. What's this got to do with music? Well, a really interesting part of this is that I see it in people's, a lot of the people who I help, the way that they interact in their own creative process. One of the things that I've noticed from coaching thousands and thousands of people. Hey, Ron, great seeing you as well, even though I can't see you. You're just a kind of Facebook icon. But anyway, so one of the things I've noticed about people who really struggle in the creative process is that what I see them doing when they're making music is searching for certainty. Okay. Instead of accepting the truth of uncertainty. Okay. The reality when you make music, or in fact when you make anything, is that you don't know how it's going to turn out. You don't know if this idea is actually a good one. You don't know, even if it is a good idea, whether the idea is going to turn into a good piece of music. And if it does turn into what you think is a good piece of music, you don't know whether other people think it's going to be a good piece of music. And even if a lot of other people think it's a good piece of music, you don't know whether it's going to have any impact on your career. I mean, I've lost count of the number of times that I released something and I was like, I made it and I was like, oh my God, they're going to love it. They're going to so love this. Oh God, I can't wait to play this. And then you put it out into the world and then it's just like crickets, tumbleweed, dong. It's like, oh, right. And then on the other side, I've lost count of the number of times I've been like, oh no, I'm not sure about this one. Oh God, I'm really worried about it. Or even like, oh, I'm just going to put it out. I'm just going to put it out, and any fear I feel about it, whatever's going to happen to it, I'm going to use that energy to make a new tune, right? So, and then you put it out, and then everyone's like, oh, it's great, it's brilliant. Okay, so in reality, we have no idea. The reality is we cannot be certain what's going to happen. And if in your creative process you search for certainty, it's like the thing that you want more than anything else. Instead of accepting the uncertainty, you do things like you edit right at the start. Let's say you've got a kick and a bass line, and then you spend like 3 days like sculpting those two sounds together. Oh yes, it's so amazing. Listen to this. It took me 3 days. Bump, bump, bump. Just a kick and a bass line. And there's nothing else. Yeah, because you want to be certain, and this is really, really great. Yeah, so you've been searching for certainty, which is actually a complete waste of time at that stage in the process, at the start. Yeah, another thing we do when we search for certainty is we start convincing ourselves that our judgment in any given moment is correct. How many times, and I say this a lot, how many times has your judgment changed about a piece of music that you're working on? I mean, it happens all the time in the creative process. Yeah, you start off really excited and then you gradually get more bored of it. You're like, oh, yeah. So that means that our judgment in every moment, in any given moment, cannot be reliable. This is one of the hardest things about being a music producer. If your judgment can't be reliable, what do you use to decide what to do next? It's one of the ways that I help people, is by getting them to figure that out. Hey, Doug. Hey, Eowee. So what do we do if we're searching for certainty with that unreliable judgment? We start convincing ourselves that it is reliable, which isn't actually a particularly logical way or rational way to continue in the creative process. Because the creative process and your experience of your music is showing you that your judgment in any given moment is unreliable. Okay? And we do all kinds of things to make ourselves more certain. Yeah? Buy new equipment. Go and do some training. That's very certain. What's more certain than doing more training? Yeah, well, I'm learning something. I'm definitely learning. I know that now. Okay? Another thing that we do when we're searching for certainty is that we create these expectations, right? Instead of just being okay with that uncertainty, we create these expectations. If I work really, really hard, then this great idea has to turn out great. Yeah? And so that is our certainty. We've created this structure of expectation. Right. I'm going to make sure this is really great. Right. Certainty. Expectation. Right. Then we get to the end of the process and it's like, it's not. This edifice we've created comes crashing down around our ears, and then we're like, oh, no. Oh, not again. This is what happens when we search for certainty instead of accepting the uncertainty in our creative process. And it's very interesting how the same thing is happening in our reactions to the crisis as well. It's the same thing. It's the same pattern. Oh, wow. Doug, Helder, hey, David, Matt, Jens, good to see you all. So what we want to do, I think, and what I attempt to help people do is be okay is the wrong word. Get used to uncertainty. Yeah, the reality of the creative process. If you want to make the best music you possibly can, and if you want to proceed forward into a future which is incredibly certain, like there's no doubt for all of us, the future is feels more certain than it ever was. Right? In fact, it's exactly as uncertain as it ever was, right? So how to move forward is to accept the fact that we do not know what is going to happen. We never did. To accept the fact that we cannot control everything in our environment. There are certain things we can control about ourselves, but there are the vast majority, 99.9999999% of things we cannot control. Yeah, is to accept that, to get to the point where we are sit with it. Feel uncertain. Be okay with it. Don't try and push it away. Okay? Because when you accept what is going on, when you accept the creative process, it means you can make better decisions. Yeah? Because you're clear, you're not making things up in order to be more certain. You're not creating these edifice-like expectations, yeah, which then come crashing down and leading to shock, surprise, and enormous amounts of suffering and demotivation. Yeah, it makes it easier to have flexible expectations. Well, this could happen, but you know that could happen. Yeah, using almost expectations as a tool, goals, if you like. A hypothesis, a testing mindset. Well, I think maybe this is what's going to happen. Let's find out. Rather than, this has to happen. If this doesn't happen, then my mind is going to explode and I'm going to give up everything. Okay. And what it also means is that in any situation, whether it be making a track, or whether it be figuring out what on earth to do when we're stuck at home, and everything's changed and all of the things that we thought were going to happen weren't going to happen. Instead, looking at it clearly and go, okay, so what is the situation? What actually is the situation? Not turning away from it, looking at it in the face. What is the situation? And what are the opportunities that there are around us right now? Taking a kind of discovery mindset with us. I mean, this is a terrible thing that is happening to the world. But it is also an amazing time to be alive. I mean, this is highly unusual. Right? It's like, whoa, okay, this is a whole new thing. Okay, but so in that sense, it's pretty amazing what's going on, good and bad. Yeah. But by looking at it clearly, being okay with the uncertainty, recognizing that there is actually a minimum there is stuff that we can control, but that is a lot less than we thought we could. Yeah, it means that we can actually look clearly at the opportunities that there are to move through the crisis and to make better music. So I'm going to do a few more. I'm going to do a few more of these kind of live streams every day, where I just kind of talk, because I'm already doing lots of production live streams over on YouTube. But I kind of feel that one of the things that I can do to help is, because of the kind of conversations that I'm having, being a coach, literally talking to lots of different people, is giving me a particular view of things, which isn't right. It's just a view of things, which I think, maybe can help you folks through the crisis. So I'm going to record these live streams just kind of ad hoc. But also go and check on YouTube if you want to see some kind of more specifically focused on music stuff. And it's absolutely fantastic to see you all here. Cheers, Lee. Cheers, Indro. Good to see you. And I will be back tomorrow. Not exactly sure when, but just keep your eyes open. But until then, onwards and upwards.